Hello and welcome to The Well. I'm your host, Dr. Brendan Arm, Doctor of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine, Chinese medicine herbalist, and founder director of Lotus Integrative Medicine in Santa Monica, California. There's a wealth of health-related information out there, and I'm joined today by this wonderful group of integrative and holistic medical doctors and practitioners to share some of our favorite wellness tips. Please let me introduce you to Bianca Rodriguez, a holistic psychotherapist, Dr. Heath McAllister, a naturopathic doctor and registered herbalist, Leona West, a clinical nutritionist and herbalist, also trained and certified in functional medicine, and Dr. Rob Krochmal, a medical doctor and a practicing physician who is board certified in family medicine, nutrition, and integrative and holistic medicine. So let's begin. Today's topic is breath work.
I'll jump in as I teach holotropic breathwork, which is a type of breathing that my dog is excited about, but also was developed in Berkeley after they were doing a lot of studies with LSD, and then the government said no more. And so there's a group of practitioners there that wanted to help people access altered states of consciousness without taking illegal drugs, and holotropic breathwork was one of the things that they founded. And it's a really powerful method of breathing that actually kind of tricks your brain into thinking that you are hyperventilating. I'm sure everybody's like, why would we do that? Because it then allows you to transcend the ego. So there's that part of you, and it's completely safe, right? There's that part of you that's saying, no, don't do it, don't do it. And a lot of the time, that is what's required for us to grow and for us to change. So you sort of end up facing yourself through this 20-minute breathing practice that has like this amazing music to it. And usually it can be done in a group. So it's a really powerful experience. And people have had out-of-body experiences, deep releasing of emotions, visions, all sorts of things. So that's a really extreme form of breath work that I like to utilize in my practice to help clients who are seeking other states of consciousness and looking to heal, but also just kind of some regular breathing techniques like sighing or doing triangle breathing can absolutely help folks that are struggling with anxiety or just regular people who are under stress.
Well, I would say that, the first group that I'm aware of that really took on breath work were the Hindus, of India. The Ayurvedic practitioners recognized that the breath was a key to, a major balancing force in the body. And now as we've been able to study it, there are groups, there's a program called HeartMath. They've been able to study exactly what's happening with your breathing. And that if you're breathing in the correct way, you're able to balance your nervous system. The nervous system has two big opposing forces in it. It has the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight, kind of your immediate response version of yourself. And then you have your relaxed, at peace version of yourself that's more suited to rest and digest. And so that a lot of times in modern society, we're in what we call sympathetic overdrive, where we're doing 10 things at once. We're multitasking. We're talking to somebody on the phone, and we're Instagramming, and we're driving a car, and we're drinking coffee, and we're like, boom, sympathetic overdrive. And that's not really conducive to rest and digest and feeling grounded. And so breathwork offers a really powerful tool to balance that, what we call the autonomic nervous system. That's the umbrella term for the sympathetic and parasympathetic. And there's different versions of doing it, but for instance, one of the simplest in HeartMath is called tidal breathing. And that's where you just do a slow in breath and a slow out breath. And the deeper, quieter, softer, and more regular you can make your breathing, the more you get into what's called coherence, which balances your blood pressure, balances your stress. It's really elegant, it's very simple, and if you can teach people to do it on a regular basis, that is an incredible form of stress management.
And what's great about breath work, as you were saying, Bianca, there can be, especially now that we know a little bit more about the side effects of some of the drugs that were done in the 60s, there is a potentially a place for, I know there's some phase 3 trials, for example, that's happening with psilocybin. And so there may be a place for certain patients and clients for that. But with breath work, you can achieve those states in a way where you not only don't have the risk of some of the side effects that the drugs have, but actually some of the side effects are actually benefits. So for example, the reason why you can get into a transcendent state is that with breath work, your body becomes more alkaline. And so that alkalinity actually affects the NMDA receptor in your cells and in your neurological system, which is essentially the gateway that allows us to be in an ego state or to transcend the ego state. So even on a cellular level, it has some profound effects there. And so as you get into that alkaline state, depending on the kind of breath work that you do, a lot of times you'll feel, initially some tingling in your fingers and toes. And every time I do it, I feel a bit of a resistance. You don't want to necessarily go out of that sympathetic, I have to get things done kind of a state. But as soon as you let go, then you get into that state where things open up and you start to relax. The parasympathetic nervous system gets activated. And then, just from an alkaline state, your body detoxes better, your bones are healthier. A lot of things happen from that are helpful on a physical level, as well as the emotional level. So, and then one other point that I would make is that in terms of hyperventilating, a lot of people think of hyperventilating as breathing fast, but for most of us, when we're in a sympathetic state, we tend to breathe fast, but it's very shallow breaths. So we're not actually getting oxygen in or carbon dioxide out, and you actually get more acidic. So the hyperventilating that you're talking about, if you're doing it in a breathwork type of practice or the way that Dr. McAllister is talking about, you actually are taking those deep breaths, releasing the carbon dioxide and getting the oxygen in, which is what you need to get into that alkaline state.
I totally agree. There's some amazing different kind of modalities of breath work. I really love Buteyko breathing, which is great for asthma. I've had a handful of clients who've been able to get asthma under control, especially allergy-induced asthma with Buteyko breathing. But I think it's really important to also highlight what we're talking about, which is our breath is always available. It's right there. So we don't need any fancy breath work to, learn and master. Our breath is always available. And to kind of geek out on the whole parasympathetic, sympathetic mode, that's something that I like to talk with my clients about, because we can do all the right stuff with diet and integrative measures, but if we are spending more time, I just encourage my clients to spend a little bit more time in parasympathetic mode so they can rest and digest and repair, and a little less time in sympathetic mode because all their efforts really kind of bake in parasympathetic mode. And the quickest way to get there is just to take a moment to breathe. And that's available to us at any moment.
I would add, some of you may know, I've suffered with migraines for my whole life. And I know many other patients suffer from it as well, or many other people suffer from, pain that's just, all encompassing and all consuming. So I know when I'm in my deep pain states that I feel in my head, and oftentimes it's even hard to isolate where do you feel it in your head, or you almost feel it in your whole body because it's neurologic. Meditation for me has been essential, or mindfulness breathing, some type of breath work. I call it typically mindfulness breathing, because otherwise my mind is just, fixed and I can't get it off of the pain. So, I tend to do practice of breathing practices to help with my own levels of pain. The three that I like best come from three of my most inspiring teachers. One of them, her name is Amachi. Her method is about selfless service and bhakti, or devotional practices. So her meditation tends to be related to that. So when you're breathing, the technique that she tends to share a lot is, you'd inhale thinking the word like Jai, which means like celebrate, or, praise, and Ma, which is, and you would exhale the word Ma. So you inhale J, and then you exhale, Ma, and Ma maybe is mother or the divine or environment or nature or the universe, however you want to interpret it. And that's the practice. It's very simple, just inhaling one word, and the vibration, helps my mind stay with the breath as opposed to being, imprisoned by the pain. I like that practice. Another one I like comes more from like a Tibetan Buddhist concept. As a teacher, the Dalai Lama is very interested in mantra recitation. So using, maybe a sequence of sacred syllables that might, help the body relax, or help you get into more of a sympathetic state of being. One that's quite popular is Om Mani Padme Hum, which maybe is the jewels in the lotus, meaning like, the divine is within us. And so the practice would be just inhaling and exhaling, no particular pace, but just, with that mantra recitation of Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, and something like this, or other mantras like that help to, deepen the spirit, help calm and still the mind. The third I like, one of my favorite teachers is Thich Nhat Hanh, Vietnamese monk, who is very interested in mindfulness breathing. And his practice is very much about being present. So whatever you're doing, whether you're cleaning a bowl, when you're after cooking or eating, or if you're peeling a tangerine, or if you're at a stoplight, just being very present and having your focus and breathing and smiling, like inhale, I smile, and exhale, I let go. And have this mantra going, or this repetition going through your head of, while you're breathing, having positive thinking, like I'm smiling and I'm happy and I'm free. So those are my favorites, which I do practice this every morning, every morning when I get out of bed, even if it's just for a few minutes, because throughout the day can be very challenging. But first thing in the morning before I get up is I think the best time to at least get some practice in. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you have a topic you'd like to learn more about, let us know with a comment on social media. And also don't forget to subscribe to our The Well YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us, and please join us next time for more wellness tips. And remember, regardless of where we are, our resources in The Well are limitless.